yeah, if you're looking for a side hustle, pet sitting, dude, yes. Maybe people don't talk about goals like that. Maybe that's just me. I'm Brandy Ainge, an author living on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Recently, I quit my day job to write full-time and share my love of all things bookish here on YouTube. Welcome to my journey. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about how I set myself up to be able to quit my day job to write full-time. Tips and tricks and some advice on how I had set myself up to leave my full-time job before I quit in order to write full-time. But I'm going to be breaking this down into two parts. Obviously, I can't talk specifically to you about your situation. I don't know what it is. I'm also not a financial advisor, so this is me just sharing my personal experience. I can't tell you exactly what you should do. I'm just sharing what worked for me, and hopefully it helps you. In other news, part one. If you've been daydreaming about leaving your day job to be able to write full time, but you haven't done it yet, it's probably for one of two reasons, if not both. One, you're afraid. Or two, financially, you don't think you can afford it. So that first big one is fear. So the first tip I have about dealing with your fear is to figure out where it's coming from. Is your fear that you're not a very good writer? Is your fear that you have no clue what you're doing? You have no clue how to go about getting your book out there? Is your fear that this is a huge financial risk? The next step is, once you figured out like where your fear is coming from, what it is specifically that you're scared of, then the second thing is to be really honest with yourself. Okay, break it down. Do this with me. Close your eyes or not, that's up to you. I'll never know the difference. But picture this. You quit your job. You're writing full time. You are in love with your book, passionately writing every single day. And it does really well. And people love it. And you start a book empire. You start a franchise. You have fans. You get fan mail. Things are awesome. That would be wonderful if it happened, but we have no clue if that's going to happen, right? So picture this. Worst case scenario. You quit your job. You get writer's block. You are stressed out and frustrated. You have zero money coming in. You're broke. You can't pay your bills. Your spouse leaves you. Your children hate you. Your pet starts to bite you. It ends up running away with your ex-spouse. And the neighbors, every time you walk outside, they point and laugh at you because they know what an epic failure you are. Your loved ones, they no longer love you. They want nothing to do with you. People who used to know you are ashamed of the fact that they met you at some point.
Well, that's incredibly specific.
I digress. That's probably not going to happen. Worst case scenario, in reality, is probably you just go get another job. That's not the end of the world. Your neighbors aren't pointing and laughing. Your loved ones don't regret meeting you. Your mom doesn't regret giving birth to you. The world's not ending. It's not that big of a deal. Get honest with yourself about what it is you're afraid of and why. And really, what's the worst thing that can happen? To me, it's worse going the rest of my life knowing that I never tried. That's worse to me than giving this thing a go, realizing it's not going to pan out the way that I hoped, and I just go get another job. That's not that big of a deal. It makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that you don't do it. Change leads to growth. If you stay in the same place the rest of your life, you're never going to experience anything new, different, or better. So get comfortable, or just do the uncomfortable. Do what scares you. It's probably not going to end as badly as you think or fear. The next thing is you have to learn to trust yourself, and you have to be worthy of your own trust. And what I mean by that is you have to be responsible for you, for anyone depending on you, whether that's children or pets or a spouse, whatever. You have to show up and treat this thing like it's a job. You have to put in the work, and you have to really deliver your best possible efforts. If you want this thing to work, you've got to put the work in. And different things work for different people. Some people really like flexibility, some people like a routine. But in any case, you have to budget your time like it's your money. You have to figure out what's going to work for you, whether that's a really strict routine that you stick to every single day, or whether or not you sit up every morning while you're drinking your coffee and just decide, this is what today is going to look like. But you've got to have a plan. You've got to know what you need to do, what needs to be worked on, and then you have to show up and actually put that work in. The third thing in mindset, and this kind of goes hand in hand with that second fear point that I was talking about of not knowing what you're doing, and that's always be learning. The book industry is always changing. There's always new options, there's always new companies, there's always new social media apps and things like that, so the marketing is always changing. It's always changing. I can't stress that enough. So as authors, especially if you're going to be a self-published author, if you want to be an indie author, you have always got to be learning. Every morning I get up and I drink my coffee and I read a book about the industry, about book marketing, about something. I'm learning. Every morning I'm studying, and I'm getting to know my field. I'm getting to know the industry and how to do this better. Currently, I'm studying book marketing specifically, learning a lot about Amazon algorithms and things like that, like things you need to know. And yeah, so always be learning. Don't be daunted if you feel like you don't know anything about the industry. Guess what? Nobody does when they're born. Nope, everybody starts out somewhere, and that's usually with absolutely no knowledge.
Think of it this way. Every great wizard in history has started out as nothing more than what we are now, students. If they can do it, why not us?
You see someone who's really successful at something that you want to be successful at, and you look at how did they get there? How did they do it? How did they make it happen? People write books on this stuff all the time. We like books. We should be reading them. So yeah, that's my soapbox. Look up books on whatever topic it is that you feel really insecure about your knowledge in.
Probably cry a little bit, and then I'd just crack them damn books.
Yeah, exactly.
And do the research. Become an expert. There's no reason you can't become a publishing expert, a writing expert. All it takes is showing up, doing the research, putting in the work, and doing it. It's that simple. So you can learn how to do pretty much anything, regardless of if you're scared, if you feel like you don't have enough knowledge, or if you financially don't think you can afford it. There's some things to take care of that too, which leads me into our second point. New topic, new location. I was editing and I hated the original video, so I was like, I've got to refilm. I hated it. So anyways, so finances are a real struggle bus for some people. They just can't figure it out. And I guess if you never had parents that taught you how to handle money, I get that. But there are a lot of classes that you can take to learn how to handle your money in a responsible way. I'm a huge fan of Dave Ramsey and Financial Peace University. I also love You Need a Budget. They have hilarious YouTube videos. If you like funny finance, then YNAB is for you. Moving on into this, You have to be disciplined with your finances. You have to know how many dollars you have coming in. You've got to tell each and every dollar where to go. If you don't have a plan for your money, it's just going to sift through your fingers like sand. And that is the last thing that you want when your income is either inconsistent or non-existent. Like, you really need to know where your money is going. So if you are not determined and you are not diligent with your finances, this isn't going to happen for you.
I'm sorry?
This really isn't going to happen for you. So within finances, I have two categories that I want to discuss with you guys. The first is savings. So if you want to quit your job, you've been saving up, and you've got some money set aside, the first thing that you want to look at is, what are your monthly expenses, or what would they be after you cut back in some areas, or, you know, once you get to where you're going to be after you leave your job. What is your monthly expense? And worst case scenario, you have no money coming in. How long can you make it strictly living out of your savings account? A secondary option for that would be, in addition to your savings, say you have a part-time job or you have a side hustle. So with that income helping out your savings account, how long can you make it? Personally, I started looking into this when I really started, after that writing retreat that I talked about, where I was like, man, like, I got a taste for it. Now I want it. That's when I really looked at my savings account. Now it's like, okay, so feasibly, if worst case scenario happens, I have absolutely no income. How long can I make it? How long can I survive? And for me, surviving strictly on my savings account, I could probably make it about 1.5 years. That's not a bad timeline as far as trying to get something up and going. Like, if you can't get it done in 1.5 years, or at least started something to build on, then it's probably not going to work for you anyways, and you probably need to go ahead and find another day job. But I also have a part-time job that I love and that I'm not planning on leaving anytime soon. And I have a side hustle. I pet sit. This is not my house. It's not. But yeah, so I have a side hustle. I am a pet sitter, and I have my part-time job, which is it's salary. It's the same income every single month, which makes budgeting a lot easier. So I know these are my monthly expenses. This is how much I have coming in from my part-time job. This is what's left over that I either need to make up from pet sitting, or it's going to have to come out of my savings account. So that being the case, I can make it probably 2 or 3 years before I'd have to find another full-time job. So that's a lot of wiggle room. That gives me a lot of peace of mind and confidence that I've got time to figure this out. I have time to learn YouTube and maybe get monetized. I have time to publish multiple books and build my series and build my brand and, you know, really grow my reader base. Set realistic expectations. If this is a goal that you're working towards in the future, go ahead and decide, I want 1 year, I want 2 years worth of wiggle room. Figure out what that means for your savings goals, and then start there and know, when I get to this dollar amount in my savings account, I can quit my job. And then throw everything you've got at it. Get a side job, get a side hustle, a yard sale, something to get that money in there so that you can accomplish your daydream and you can quit your job. Second part of finances is we're going to be talking about checking. So your checking account. So before I quit my day job, I got a month ahead in my expenses, which means we are currently still in April. Today is actually April 14th, I believe, filming this. This is going up next Tuesday. We want to reduce financial stress, right? So if you get a month ahead, so we're in April, the rest of April is paid for. All of May is paid for. And right now, everything I'm making is going towards paying June's bills, which is great because my side hustle income is really inconsistent. And this is peak season, you know, spring break and then around Christmas and Thanksgiving are when I'm going to make most of my pet sitting income. So I've got to make it go as far as I can while I'm getting it. so that I don't have to take money out of savings. So instead of going on a shopping spree, Home Goods, I am paying future bills in my budget. I use YNAB's budgeting app for that. Highly recommend. It does cost money, but you get, I think, 34 days for free or something. You get like a month for free. So try it out and see if you like it. I love it. Works really well for me. And they also have a really great video that explains how to get a month ahead, because I'm not going to go that far. So I'll link that in the description box below for you guys. It's a funny video. I love Hannah. She's great. So I'll link that video in the description box below. Check it out. It's good. But what that does, getting a month ahead, is it reduces your stress about your money. You're not focusing on what bills are coming up, whether or not you can afford to pay them, if you're gonna bounce any checks or like any surprise bills because you have a budget. Nothing's gonna be a surprise. And it just really frees up the mental space to relax and just focus on writing. So leaving your day job can sound super stressful, and maybe for some people it would be nerve-wracking. I had so much, I already talked about in my last video, which I'll link in the cards. That day when I went in and I gave my notice and I had peace, and I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to be stressed out, but I was prepared and I had a plan and I knew what I could expect and what was going to happen, and it wasn't going to be a surprise. You know, I had already brainstormed what my routine was going to be. I knew that, you know, for almost 2 months, a month and a half in advance, my bills were paid. I knew that I had pet sitting gigs lined up, and essentially I'm still working from home, just somebody else's house. So pet sitting is a great side hustle if you're a writer. Yeah, I just had so much peace. And then knowing that I have, you know, a year's worth of expenses-ish in savings, like I'm not stressed out financially. And I'm not bragging, I'm just saying this is the point nice to get to before you leave your day job, so that you're not stressed or scared or anxious, and that you're just excited to write. I went to my friend's house for Taco Tuesday last night, and I couldn't stop smiling, and I was so just excited about life. And I was like, I've been waiting for it to hit me and for me to be like, oh my God, what have I done? And it's not going to. I think I've already passed the point where it would have. Like, I think it's sunk in that this is my life now and I love it. And I spent so many years working jobs that if I didn't hate, they just drained me. And I'm finally to a point now where I can do what I love all day, every day. And I love my life. I love what my day-to-day looks like. It's amazing. And I never thought that I would get here. And the fact that I feel like it kind of snuck up on me, and it came a lot sooner than anticipated, thanks to 2020 and COVID and, you know, aha moments. But I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be sharing this with you guys. And like, you know, when those really annoying couples are like super happy together and they're like, we just want this for everybody. And so they're trying to like set all their friends up with people, even though their friends aren't interested. That's how I feel about writers and quitting your day job to write full time. I'm like, everyone needs to experience this. This is awesome. And I want this for you if this is what you want. I'm not a forceful matchmaker, but if this is the goal, then I hope that I can help you get there, because I want you to feel this level of happiness. It is so great. So next week, I'm going to be showing you what a day in my life now looks like and what being a full-time author looks like. So yeah, if you have any questions on anything that I talked about in this video, if you want more detail, or if you have any questions about writing or publishing or anything at all, comment below and let me know what you guys would like to see in future videos, because I have a lot of ideas, but I also want to know what you want to see. So just makes sense, you know? But yeah, until next time. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and you hit that little bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. See you guys next Tuesday.